Hey folks, Brother John here, and I'm here to tell you the story of the first Christmas crush. Now, the story of the first Christmas crush isn't the same as the story of the first Christmas. That was when Jesus was born in Bethlehem 2,000 years ago. Our story happens about 800 years ago, and our story is about this guy. His name is Francis. Francis was a rich man who gave away all of his belongings and his money so that he could live and work with the poor, because he felt that Jesus was calling him to live and work with them. Francis went off to the Holy Land to stop a crusade. Sadly, he didn't stop the crusade, but he made good friends with the Sultan. He and the Sultan used to jam out. When Francis came back to Europe, he went to a village called Greccio. In Greccio, his best friend lived. His name was John. John was an honest-to-goodness knight. John and Francis would hang out, and they would go to the caves that were around the village of Greccio. Now, one day they went to a cave, and Francis realized that this cave seemed a lot like a cave that he'd seen in the Holy Land. And so Francis said to his friend John, "Hey John, do you remember that cave we visited? The one in Bethlehem?" "Yeah, I remember it. It was pretty cool. Doesn't this cave kind of remind you of the one in Bethlehem?" "You know what? It kind of does." "That's cool. We should pray." And so they prayed. And while they were praying, Francis had an idea. "Oh my gosh, I just had an idea." "What's that, Francis?" "We should help people to remember the Nativity by remaking it here and now." And so they did. They sent out letters and messages out to everyone. And people came from all over. Even the brothers from Assisi came down to hang out and celebrate Christmas with St. Francis. Word traveled fast, and suddenly they had people from all over coming, bringing candles and different things to help make the celebration awesome. Some people brought sheep. Other people brought cows and animals, even donkeys, all to celebrate the birth of Jesus. You know, Francis and the brothers were really happy. And so they gathered together on Christmas Eve. They lit candles and they went in procession with a cross, just like we do at church today. And so the people gathered there in that dark and dank cave. It was smelly and slimy. It wasn't pretty, but it was awesome, because the candles lit the lights. The candles lit the space. The people started to sing, "Gloria in excelsis Deo." And as the people sung, they started to remember the baby Jesus. Baby Jesus was born in a cave, in a barn, not in a castle, and not in a cathedral. He wasn't rich. He was poor. There were donkeys where he was born. Francis wanted the people to remember Jesus as he was, a poor and helpless baby born in the lowest of places to poor people, to bring light into the darkness of the caves of their lives. And now today we remember the Nativity. We remember it every year, and we remember it using a tool that St. Francis gave us called the Nativity or the creche. And what about the baby Jesus? Interestingly enough, there was no baby Jesus in the original creche. The baby Jesus, or rather, I'm going to have to edit this. And what about baby Jesus? Well, when Francis got up in front of everyone to preach the gospel, he preached the gospel in front of a creche with no Jesus, a manger just with straw. And as people heard Francis preach, they understood that the baby Jesus was supposed to be born in their heart today, and that the lights of the candles that burned in the darkness, one candle made light for the cave. And Francis, he got up to preach, he read the gospel, and for the whole sermon, he wouldn't call Jesus God, he wouldn't call Jesus the Christ, he called Jesus the babe of Bethlehem, because that's what he was, a little baby born for us in Bethlehem. There was no baby Jesus in the original creche, because the baby Jesus is supposed to be born in our hearts. We are supposed to bring the light of the candles of Advent, the light of the Easter candle, to everyone we meet. So, as we sit alone, or as we sit at home, and we're far away from family, we can remember this image. A family isolated in the poorest of conditions, far away from family and friends, but a light was born with them and in them, and that light has shone over the entire earth. Let Jesus be born in your heart this year, and I promise you, light will shine again.